What's up, Internet? Brandon and Jimmy here from Nerd Alert, and we're going to talk about some things, some nerdy things, some comic book things.
That's new.
I know,
I
right?
we changed the
Welcome.
format of this thing. Wow.
I don't know. We just kind of go with whatever works, but you guys are kind of into us talking about that stuff. So we have an update on the Marvel DC crossover. It was announced originally it was going to be Batman and Deadpool, and then Deadpool and Batman for each company. And what we thought were maybe going to be a series of different one shots, it now looks like they're rolling into these two massive issues. And Marvel shared their solicitations for here in the Deadpool Batman book. And honestly, let's just get into it. Backup stories in the one shot will include Daredevil and Green Arrow by Kevin Smith and Andy Kubert. Kevin Smith has famously wrote both of those characters. We've got a Wonder Woman and Captain America by Chip Zdarsky and Terry Dodson. That's already incredible art and amazing writing. Chip Zdarsky is just about to start his Captain America run, so that is interesting. And then we've got Jeff the Land Shark and Krypto by Kelly Thompson. And my God, I'll never, ever, ever, ever pronounce that name. Nope, not going to try. But you recognize their art, and I will apologize for that later. But that's what the Marvel book is going to look like. And
I wasn't aware of Jeff and Crypto. That's hilarious. I didn't know they were doing it.
I think it's poignant for both of them, and I think it's a cool way to do the crossover. And everybody's thinking all these heroes and villains and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, why don't we take these two?" I mean, Jeff is on that come up right now as far as like being a super popular character, bringing new readers in, younger readers in. So I think that's going to be a fun little backup story for sure. With Superman coming out, with Jeff being popular. And I mean, honestly, though, I kind of want to jump into Kevin Smith writing Daredevil and Green Arrow.
I have paid way more attention to his filmmaking career, but I was a huge fan of his Daredevil run with not introducing, but reintroducing Mysterio on his deathbed. And that was so good. And it really shows kind of like what James Gunn does with movies. Like, here's an uber comic book nerd, and he's actually able to jump into the medium that he loves so much and tell a really good story. I know he's written for Green Arrow. I've not read that. But when I saw that cover and I immediately sent it to you guys, I'm like, I'm not paying attention. I thought we were just getting like a Deadpool Batman and maybe other people. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Super stoked. And then my first thought of the Zdarsky Wonder Woman, Captain America, I don't know why. I just kind of want to have a romantic comedy. I'm sure thure they're going to do something way more serious, but I just want a romantic.
I'm really into both of these ideas with both of these groups of characters. And what I was noticing, I mean, between someone like Capullo doing the art for the Marvel one, which is going to be, he famously did the Scott Snyder run with,
Awesome.
Batman with Scott Snyder.
I feel like we don't comment enough on great team ups with creators. And to me, Snyder Capullo working together, that was one of the best runs in
it's
modern history. It was so good.
Especially in a kind of event that not everything hit. The ones that hit stand out much more. And between the Court of Owls and everything else he did, that was an outstanding run. But it's cool to see that although Capullo has moved to Marvel, he now gets to draw this character that he drew for so many issues. And someone like Kevin Smith, who has history writing both of these characters, it's cool to see everyone getting along. And I think that's really what we need. And
amazing how quick that happened when certain people leave.
I know that's the thing. Dan DiDio stood against that for so long, and so many people wanted it. And I just think it's a show of good faith that both companies are like, let's do this because it'll help the industry as a whole. And people want to see this stuff happen. Like, I hope, I mean, I can't imagine movies are probably a lot harder to do. So I'm hoping it never gets to the movies with all this stuff. But I just think this is so cool. And so far, the talent that they have chosen is, I mean, it's A-list. And that's the cool thing too, is you're not worried about grabbing, like most of these people will have worked for both companies by this time. So I just think that is so awesome that they get to revisit all the characters at once.
Well, I don't understand the argument of diminishing the characters or the importance. Elseworlds and What Ifs are so popular right now that it's
Mm-hmm.
to understand these aren't in the normal continuity of either company. They're
Yeah.
just fun. So why would you take away fun? Dan, why are you taking away fun from us? Why are you a buzzkill, dude? Come on.
He stood on that. He stood on that point his entire career there. And yeah, I mean, I just think this is going to help everybody so much. I think it's going to get more people back into the store. I think this is going to get new readers. You might see some number ones pop up around here, so that way you get more people wanting to read these books. I mean, this is a positive in all categories, and it,
And
like you
like you
said,
said, the
it's just
creators, they're matching up with the characters. That's
yeah.
genius. Like, would you? I mean, as far as I don't know when the last time Kevin Smith wrote a comic book that was mainstream, not one of his individual ones, his lesser ones that are in the Skewiverse. But it's been the '90s since he wrote Daredevil, as far as I know. So it's been a minute. So to bring him back to touch these characters that he did a long time ago is pretty awesome. Actually, it might have been the 2000s.
He wrote Batman Cacophony that never finished. It was left a giant cliffhanger. So that was the last thing I think he did for either company. I think it's cool to bring in with characters he knows and has written. That's I think is awesome. And honestly, like I cannot wait to see the DC kind of side of things with who choose. I've heard rumors online. None of this has been, but possibly Mark Miller, Fantastic Four team up with someone. So we'll see. I assume I'll get an, and then I think this is coming out September or November, and then the next one will probably be a month or two after that. And I'm gonna be surprised if this leads to another DC versus Marvel event. Honestly,
That's cool. That's may I impart my favorite Kevin Smith story of all time?
yes, May in part away.
Well, a younger version of Jimmy Palmquist and a young version of Brandon Zitch were at the National Association of Broadcasters, where Kevin Smith was speaking, and they asked people to get up in line to ask questions, and Brandon got up with some coaxing, but he got up. And I don't remember the first question, but it was like a hour, 45-minute answer. And I'm like, oh my God, they're never going to get to Brandon. I don't know if you were third, fourth,
Dude,
fifth. I don't remember where you were. He was just answering forever per one question. And I obviously was looking at you because I was crouched down, ready to film your question with his answer. And it felt like forever. And I'm like, this is never going to happen. Do you remember your question? I don't.
man, I don't even remember what it was. I just remember I was in awe that I was like, this man is just like explaining to me and explaining and explaining. And he went in, and it's the thing I love about Kevin Smith and his interviews is when he gets talking about something that he loves, you can tell because he just wants to keep going about it. And it just felt cool that I asked him a question that prompted a response like that. Um,
Yeah.
the second question did deal, I think I said, with Cacophony or one of the other books that he wrote that were left on a cliffhanger. And then afterwards, I spoke with him again real quick. And I think that was the first time I'd ever interviewed anybody. And I was wearing my Monroeville Zombie shirt.
Yes.
And immediately after he finished, I shook his hand. I was like, "Can you sign this?" So I thought that was cool. Like that was
Well, if I
awesome,
remember,
man.
he loved it. Like he loved the shirt. I
Yeah,
thought
no,
it was
it was just awesome, man. It was a cool time, and man, that was like literally the first time I think we ever did anything.
It was very early on because then I think it was the same NAB where another member gave our card to James Cameron, and we'd had in a weird way we'd had some tiff with James Cameron because we revealed something that he didn't want revealed, but somehow we got the scoop on it anyway. And he saw the card Nerd Locker, and he just kind of looked at the camera and laughed like Nerd Locker, and like nodded like, "Well done." I was
You
like,
guys, we did something that I remember. Didn't we get told to take it down?
we did. We announced before anybody else had it because we had friends who worked for Cirque du Soleil, and somehow he was getting a tour behind the scenes for his own show that he was going to create for in the partnership with Cirque du Soleil. And we posted a picture of him getting this tour, and boy, did we get I wouldn't say in trouble because I was like, I don't care, but we
And that
lost
was still like
friends.
early days. That
Yes,
was still early days. Like that
it
was
was.
very like I didn't even think we knew what we were doing. And I was like, oh shit.
No clue. No clue. But somehow we got that scoop. And yeah, that it was sort of funny. We created a war with James Cameron, but then when he saw the Nerd Locker card, he's like, I thought that was fun.
Good
But
times.
long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Anywho,
I'll
back to
say.
Marvel DC.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I love the matchups we're seeing. I love the talent we're seeing, and I'm just excited to see DC side of it with the Batman Deadpool. Um, yeah, man, I'm so excited for this, and I just think it's a good sign of things to come. I think it's a good time if you are interested in reading comics or haven't been to a store in a long time. Like, go set up a pull box so you make sure this ends up in your box and check out some stuff because there's never a lack of product to check out.
And what's nice is these are great ways to just put your toe in the water of collecting comic books because they're
Yeah,
the big names. They're going to use the big names. So you have an idea of who these characters are. They don't really go into origins or anything like that. They just tell fun stories with these characters that you already know. So you don't need to know much more going in. And then once you kind of get in this universe, but more importantly, crossing that threshold of getting into a comic book store, which can be intimidating for sure, then it opens you up to reading more older stuff. There's so many storylines you can go through just over the history of DC and Marvel, not to mention the independent ones. So getting your foot in the door with this series crossover event is so cool because you can read so many stories. You literally can read to the day you die because there's so many things going on in comic
I
books now.
mean, I'm getting to that point that I think once my shelves are filled, I may stop for a while and reread some stuff because I mean, there's stuff I haven't touched in a minute, and I'm actually excited to crack back open. But yes, this is a good way to get your foot in the door. It's a good way to start. You know, just go in and ask. I know sometimes comic stores aren't known for being the most friendly, but if you're lucky enough to live in Vegas, you'll have Maximum Comics where
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
always help you out.
Big time.
But just go in and ask questions. They'll tell you their favorite, their least favorite. Check out both. Check out their favorite and their least favorite, and then that way you can figure out what you like. But yes, I think this is going to be good for the industry. I think this is going to be good for the shops. This isn't a single issue you can order off of Amazon. Get it in your hands. It'll be fun. It'll be worth it.
And I am not with Brandon on this. I hope they do movies left and right. I hope we get everything. Do it. Do
Do
it.
too much. Nope.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.